Powered by Riverside.
Happy Saturday, fam. Happy Saturday to all of you sports fans, you non-sports fans, you lovely people. Welcome. Welcome to our podcast, Cracking a Cold One. It's your fearless hosts, Joxy and Degs. And yeah, welcome to this Saturday episode. So, per usual, let's go ahead and let's get started. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, buddy.
That was I got on timeout.
I spilled on myself, so I got very distracted. A decent amount on me.
Oh my gosh. These are those videos that I'm like, I am not restarting this. We're just going with it. So this was, if you're not watching the YouTube video, you know that usually what we do is we'll cheers and we'll say cheers, buddy. Degs literally
I doused myself.
he doused himself with some Surfside. Shout out Surfside. But then he also
I got very discombobulated.
You said cheers, buddy, into the
Yeah, I realized.
the can, not the mic.
Yeah. I mean, if you would have felt what I felt, I think you would have. It was a little cold blast there, dude.
That was funny. All right, that little hey, this is why we just do what we do. This is just a normal podcast for normal folk. We don't sugarcoat anything. We don't edit anything. We just do it.
I'm not very embarrassed. I just
How you doing, buddy?
I'm wet. I'm wet, man. I'm wet. But I'm good. No, I'm good. Happy to be here. Did not get one yesterday at the Sixers game. I went to see the Sixers Hornets, and so good to have a nice, refreshing cold one.
Yeah. No, that was I haven't really been drinking that often, but obviously with the podcast we always crack some, and it's always good to kind of change it up because whenever me and Amanda when we go out on Friday for dinner, we'll have like a glass of wine or something like that. But,
Yeah, I got you.
It's a little bit
Cocktail
of
of
a
some
change
sort.
of
Yeah.
difference. Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, it's a gloomy Saturday, so it's good to record. These are one of those days where like I look forward to recording because it's like there's nothing else I'd rather do instead of just being a bum and chilling in the house, and let's talk about sports.
Right. No, I completely agree. Was able to get out to the gym early this morning, but I don't want to do anything really the rest of the day. Do this and just lounge.
Buy 2K and enjoy me.
Maybe I will. It was pretty fun watching it. I'll tell you. He got beat by the Monstars.
Yeah, it's there's a challenge on 2K. It's really actually difficult, but you're essentially having to face each of the all NBA 2K teams from NBA 2K to all the way to NBA 2K4. So you're facing Jason Kidd 3 times out of the 4 teams. You're facing Shaq like 4 times or 5 times, or 4 times. I mean, you're facing Kobe a couple times, Gary Payton. It's ridiculous. There's like the best of the best players, and
Stars we grew up with.
Yeah, it's tough. So if you don't have your my team built up to like being like you need depth essentially because my depth sucks. My backup center is Luke Garza coming in to freaking guard Shaq and Tim Duncan. So yeah, no, that was not fun. But game went down to the wire.
Yeah,
lost by 2.
The buzzer.
Yeah, lost by 2 points. Freaking Jason Kidd runs an ISO and has Shaq out of nowhere just pops up and just you can't stop Shaq. There was a moment that Dykes actually saw that I'm guarding Shaq with Pascal Siakam, and I'm literally pushing on the freaking joystick like to put the utmost defense against Shaq, and he just literally just pushes him back, like just slides. It's
started like 3/4 of the way of the foul line and just was underneath the basket.
He put him underneath of the basket, literally. So, but No, well, yeah, no, this obviously we're not here to talk 2K. We're here to talk beautiful NBA. So let's go ahead and let's dive into this week's episode. Oh man, so um, Sixers, man,
Yeah,
falling apart.
they've lost 4 of their they've only gone 4-6 the last 10.
Yeah,
Um, Good win yesterday, a team they should beat. I mean, the Hornets, especially the Hornets, had no one playing. I mean, Miles Bridges played, but no Brandon Miller,
yeah,
no LaMelo Ball. Seth Curry got hurt in the game, which I hate to say. I'm a big, we I like him from his time here,
I was
and
gonna say
the
Philly.
crowd gave
Philly
a.
has to love Seth.
He wasn't putting like weight. I want to follow up on that. He wasn't putting weight on that ankle. He went right to the locker room. Philly kind of gave him a little cheer, but yeah, no, I was at the game last night. I always enjoy going up there, just the atmosphere. It was just one of those times I texted you, you couldn't come, but the tickets were starting at like $16.
Really?
So we ended up getting, it was a nice angle. We were in the upper row, but it's only like with fees included, I think it was like 37, $38.
That's not bad at all.
So it was very nice.
You really can't get a bad seat in that stadium unless you're like all the way in the last seat, but
Well,
like
Well, you know what's cool is
or last row.
we had I really liked our seats. We were the eighth row, and just the way it worked, like like when you're coming up the stairs, there's almost like that point where like near the underpass where
Hmm.
like you go in and
Yeah,
then up.
yeah.
Well, we were right there on the side, so there was no one actually in front of us
Oh,
at
okay,
all. So
okay.
our feet could dangle a little
Yeah, yeah,
bit and
yeah, yeah.
whatnot. So, um, no, it was a good time. It
That's
was
good.
yeah. Nick and JT went. So I'm 3-0 this year going to the Sixers games. So hopefully, maybe I should go with the more.
I mean, we have another one coming up for sure. Let's see. What was the final score? So 121, 114.
hmm
Let's look at this player stat
It did
line.
come down to it. Maxey had a nice game. Tobias looked awesome.
Tobias, yeah, Tobias had 31 points. I saw that he had 13 points in the first quarter. My thing goes back to just him being very inconsistent. I've been so much of a Tobias apologist, and I'm just done. I'm over it. I think right now I'm at that point, man, where I've joined you, where I'm just like I'm over this season. Like I love the team. I'm not saying that I'm over um not over them. I think that this
I
this
like what we.
team has a
Yeah,
lot of momentum going on. There's just a lot of good vibes that are happening with this team, but I do not foresee them competing in this playoffs. I just want them to get it over and done with. Go on to the off season, and let's go ahead and go into this off season with $60 million in cap
right,
space, so we can fill in
right. Fill in the gaps
fill in
there.
the gaps,
Yep.
try to improve this team. There's a lot of people that said that Kyle Lowry is probably going to retire this year. I actually wouldn't mind it if he did come back for one more year as a like
Us,
almost like a senior development role player, like that
yeah,
can like somebody that obviously is like
like you
I
did.
don't want to see this right here. I don't want to see 36 minutes. I cannot see him on there on the
Yeah,
floor. Now
more
I
like you done
know
as
that
Haslam
we
role.
yeah, I know that we
hmm
have a lot of injuries and whatnot, but I would love to see Kyle Lowry in Philly again next year. Max 15 minutes in a
Yeah,
game. That's a max of 15 minutes that you play. I'm not expecting you to go ahead and drop that much. Like, give me 5, give me 10 points. That type of like ordeal. Um, and then we've always talked about it where I think if we were to re-sign Tobias, I would want him at a lower cost.
yeah.
Here goes my thing with Tobias though. I was bringing this up earlier this week with one of my coworkers that Tobias Harris, when Pat Bev got traded, um, Pat Bev talked about how Tobias actually called him and asked him, "What's the difference between Philly and Milwaukee?" And Pat Bev said, "Oh, just winning." He said, "It's not the players or it's not the team. It's the front office. Where the front office stands."
hmm
Um, that did not make me very happy to hear that Tobias is calling another player, asking him the difference between Philly and Milwaukee, even like knowing that he's in his last year.
hmm
I do see Milwaukee going after Tobias Harris in the offseason. I do see Tobias Harris signing with them I can see them signing him for like another 2 to 3 years. And I think it's just going to come down to money. At that point, I think it's going to come down to money. I don't think the Sixers give him more than $12 million per year. I think he gets at least 15 to 17 million dollars from Milwaukee, and I think he signs with Milwaukee.
That'd be an interesting move if he did go there. Yeah, no, I mean I'm not gonna break the bank to bring him back. I agree with you. I mean he's got to be in that I'd say 12 to $15 million range is what I'd be okay with bringing him back with. Lowry, yeah, I'd love to have him for another year. You know what? He looked pretty good yesterday. I thought he had like a double double. He was doing a good job facilitating, making the open shot and whatnot. So I think with a healthy team, he doesn't play, minutes like that. He'll provide efficient minutes for us this
Mhm.
year. I mean, there was a lot of guys out yesterday. I mean, Oubre, Melton, Embiid, obviously.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, um, some takeaways. Seeing it, watching in person, I feel like sometimes you just get some different perspective. At times, we've been saying this for weeks, but I'll tell you what, man, Mo Bamba is so bad, dude.
Yeah.
He is so bad. Yesterday, I mean, it was just you were seeing Paul Reed and then you see him, and I'm just like, I don't even know why you're even playing him.
Yeah,
Versus just
Paul Reed was in for 24 minutes, had 11 3 and had 11 3 and 8, and then Mo had 2 1 and 8 in
yeah,
19
he
minutes.
he just dude, he literally is the same player he was when he came in college. He didn't put it on any weight, didn't hasn't developed a polished
He's
offensive
lazy.
game.
He's lazy.
Yeah, man, he's just he's a shell of his athleticism. So, um,
It's upsetting because he came into the NBA with a promising
oh yeah, he was
uh
like the seventh overall pick.
yeah, with a promising future.
That's
I
just
actually thought that maybe the Lakers were going to be able to crack something out of him because of having AD there, but
Yeah, no, he's. I mean, maybe he'll get another year or something, but he's going to find himself out of the league soon. I think he just doesn't have the talent to stay in there. Uh, Ricky Council, I saw him for the in person.
mhm.
I like what I saw. He was aggressive. Did you see that dunk he had
Yes,
yesterday?
yeah, I did see that.
Oh my
I saw the
god, dude!
highlighted
In
on that
person,
one.
the
Mhm.
stadium went crazy.
Yeah,
He had a tough day. He wasn't. His shots weren't dropping. A couple times it was kind of like the shot clock was going down. He just happened to have the ball in his hand.
yeah,
But I like what I see with his aggression. I'll tell you what. At least physicality, like an athleticism standpoint. He's definitely an NBA player, and you've said it a few times. You're like, oh, like maybe he be like the Tobias replacement type of thing. I'll say this. I'll say like he obviously has a lot of work to do. You
yeah.
know what I mean? But I th- I think he is very legit. He has the size. He has the confidence. You can tell just from taking those shots. You know what I mean? And so I enjoyed seeing that in person. That was someone I was really wanting to see. Um, and seeing Buddy Hield in person.
Yeah, I
That's what
would
I want to see.
another player that I do want them to go after in the offseason, that's a free agent is Gary Trent Jr. Gary Trent Jr. I've been wanting here for a while since he was with Portland. I was upset that when he was being flirted with trades and then he got traded to Toronto.
Toronto.
Toronto gave up a freaking whale to go ahead and get him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a free agent in this offseason for another one that came under Nick Nurse, so I think that could be a good one. The good thing that I'm seeing here from the stats and yesterday now, even though we don't have our big man, Joel, we were still out rebounding them, which is very, very big. I mean, that's something that's huge. We were we were blowing them out of the water with offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, and also assists. Assists 38 to 24. I mean, that's just good things to see. You have everybody that's crashing the boards. Assists, obviously, that's just people that are sharing the ball. A lot of people are getting love. Um, Buddy, I mean, 32 minutes and 13 points. Got to give me a little bit more than that, but I know the hot hand was between Tyrese and Tobias because it looks like them both were just pretty much going off.
For sure. No, I felt the same, and I want it more from Hield because I want him to cover my bet. But you know what? I saw out him. That I've seen when he came here and then in person is he's a really good facilitator, and that's kind of what it seemed like he was doing yesterday a little bit more. He was, early on. I think in the first quarter he had like four or five assists. So,
Okay.
um, so he was making impact
Yeah.
just in a different way. He's gonna blend in. I just think exactly what you just said like 5 minutes ago. It sucks. We know it's written on the wall. Sixers aren't going to win a championship this year.
Yeah.
Um, but I just love like things like him that are in place for the future here.
Yeah.
I think they're in the right direction. Like you said, 60 million cap. Bring it on. I'm excited. This is an exciting off season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think like it doesn't necessarily have to be another max player that comes over here. Realistically, you can fill up. You can go ahead and get some um, very good role players
Right. Above
that
average role players. Yeah.
that yeah, above average like role players like I said, like Gary Trent
Mm-hmm.
Jr. There's a number. Let me actually go back to this list that I have here. Um, you can go ahead and get Gary Trent Jr. I actually would not mind bringing Talent Horton Tucker in as a off the bench.
Okay.
Miles Bridges is somebody that I've been thinking about. Obviously, that's more of another like max player. That's not like a above average player. He's definitely like another max player. I'm trying to see there's a lot of older guys that are in this list for.
I'm not opposed to a max player, but I don't want to put all my eggs in that basket though.
No.
If it makes sense and we can go get them and we can still get the depth we need and whatnot, cool. But I am with you where I think Maxi's still budding. He still has untapped potential. Um, they do
What's
need that third. They have to have a third guy though. I mean, whether that is Tobias back on
would that be, Buddy?
I well, I want to say yeah, but I also almost wonder if he's like 3B. You know,
Yeah.
I just would love like if they just had one more guy with Joe and Maxi that just can take over a game a little bit. That's kind of what's just missing, and then they need more of what they have. Just the depth they have is off the charts. I mean,
Hmm.
they haven't had depth like that. I mean, when healthy, I mean it's absurd. I mean, Covington wasn't playing last night. I mean, Oubre,
Yeah.
Joe Melton. That's almost like a starting lineup right there. You know what I mean? Like, so
What about Malik Beasley?
yeah, I like him.
Because he's 27 years old, so he's another one that's young.
He's
I
a
mean,
very good scorer.
this is my thing. When I'm looking at this list, is the money that these players are getting. I just wonder if they even buy into, getting less. Because I could see like, all right, Gary Harris. I could see the Sixers going after somebody like Gary Harris because he's not making that much, right? And maybe he's not going to be demanding as much as well. But I look over here at Gary Trent. Gary Trent's getting 17.2. Gary Trent's definitely going to be getting paid by somebody.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
a team that I could definitely see throwing money at Gary Trent, especially if they don't win it this year, or if they don't even go far this year, Miami or Boston. Miami or Boston are going to be a team that's going to. But this is also, I know people have been talking about Boston's going to have to figure things out because of their cap space, but we'll see. We'll see behind that. And then another player that we have, talked a lot about is Clay. If Clay Thompson is open to coming to the East Coast, I'd be.
oh my God, I told you last week he's almost number one on my list because that's
I
exactly.
just don't see him leaving the California area. Hear me out. Only because of
I don't have a choice.
him with it, obviously where he started his career with
Yeah,
Golden State. His dad played his whole career with the Lakers. I could see like him.
I could see LA going after
Yeah,
him.
I could see one of those California teams,
Sacramento.
Sacramento, Clippers, Lakers, somebody throwing some money at him for a year or two, and he buys into it just so he stays in there in California.
Well, I'll say this is
But Clay,
he
you don't
he's
have as much sales tax, or not sales tax,
okay.
income tax over here.
He's exactly what I'm saying. He's exactly what I think is needed. What would be the difference maker here?
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I'd love to have him. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. NBA free agency is always that's like kind of my favorite free agency. I mean, don't get me wrong, NFL is awesome too, but uh, the NBA, I always look forward to that off season, to the crazy reports, Woj bombs, Shams, and
Right in the middle of summer when we're just sitting there on a cruise ship, and then out of nowhere, you go ahead and you get the nice little Nick Nurse is the head coach of the 76ers. And I was like, oh my gosh, let me go ahead and do backflips right here with my
that was awesome.
30th drink that I had.
That was awesome. No, it was perfect to hear that. Yeah, no, that was it was funny. So Chris is my brother who's going on a cruise in March here. And I told him, I was like, it was awesome. We were watching the NBA finals on the cruise, and that was a great touch.
Yeah.
So he's gonna get to see some March Madness on the cruise. I was like,
No way.
I'm like, oh, that's cool too.
What cruise is he going on to?
So it is Carnival. I don't know too much information.
Him and his buddies, I'm assuming? Or...
Yeah, I think some college buddies.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. That'll be a good time. Some March
yeah.
Madness on the ship. Amanda was actually asking about that. She was like, "Is there basketball going on?" I was like, "Yeah, remember last year?
Yeah.
We had that one night where we went out to that bar and watching Miami and Boston going at it,
Sweating our asses off in that corner.
and I think there were so many. I think there were so many Miami fans that I was rooting for Boston that night, and I was like, "This is freaking disgusting."
Could never.
No,
No, we were
we were rooting for Miami. Yeah.
Because
You're
we
right.
ended up going back to the apartment,
Yeah,
and we watched. That was
to the apartment.
the B&B.
No, I'm talking about when we were on the cruise ship, though.
Oh, you're talking about on the cruise ship? Because we did watch the game
We were on
in Miami.
Yeah, but when we were on the cruise ship, we were at that. It was Pig and Anchor, I think it was, and we were watching the game down there. I want to say, I don't think that was the NBA Finals. I think that was still the NBA Eastern Conference Finals.
I think you're right.
And I think it was still Miami and Boston, and we were rooting for Miami for sure in there, because I could never root for Boston. Never. All right, so going back to this whole thing with the off season, or I should say, not going into the off season, but just like what our wishes are. Obviously, just either developing Buddy to be that third player, and then using that $60+ million, obviously, to pay Buddy, but then also filling out the rest of the team with like a Gary Trent Jr.
Right.
Maybe like I honestly wouldn't not close the door on Markelle Fultz possibly coming back. But I really do like a Gary Trent Jr. I like Talon Horton Tucker. Maybe even what's his name? Oh, D'Anthony Melton definitely has to come back too. That's another player that I really want to come back.
Yeah.
'Cause,
him and I like him and Oubre.
Yeah, I love Oubre. Oubre, I think, is going to be another good one that'll he'll be a good addition with us next year. So let's transition to right now with the rest of the season, and just kind of like talking about what we got going on. So we got some tight matchups right now. I mean, Sixers right now are in 5th place. I believe last week when we were chatting, were they in 6th place?
No, they were the 5th because they
Were
were
they
going to be
5th?
playing the Knicks.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So they're still sitting in 5th place. Right now, a game above, actually a half a game above Orlando. So it's gonna be very interesting coming down to the wire.
They have a somewhat. The schedule isn't going to be too easy here. So they got Dallas tomorrow. Then Tuesday they got Brooklyn. Wednesday Memphis. Friday New Orleans, and then bring us back to Sunday versus New York. So I guess that those first four games, it's not too terrible of a stretch. I'd love to see them at least split them.
Yeah.
Minimally. 2 away, 2 home. So Dallas, I think, is going to be the tough one. Brooklyn and Memphis, I think they can take down With their team as is. New Orleans is another one where that's a wild card. They could beat them, but they could also
Technically, Philly has one of the easiest schedules in the
remaining
league.
left.
Yeah,
Mm.
in the league. But um, I'm looking at a few different things right here based off of just this year. Yeah, right now they were in 10th place for the hardest schedule in February. Yeah, they're still in 27th place um, for strength of schedule. So I mean, there's
The hardest part is that West Coast trip we've been referring to. When
that's the one thing I'm not looking forward to
they play
is
Phoenix, Lakers, Clippers, Sacramento, and then Clippers again. That's a tough 5 game stretch there. Especially
and
being on the
I
road
don't
mostly.
know if Joel is coming back. Joel said that the plan is for him to still come back. But when you can almost read the player or like in advance, he's almost like giving the yeah, the plan is still to come back, but like yeah. And
That's just the cliche
I'm like,
publicist answer
bro,
that they told him to say.
I'm like,
Yeah.
you're not coming back.
He shouldn't. He shouldn't. I'm gonna stand on that hill. The team's not playing good enough ball without him, and not only that, right?
Daryl didn't do a good enough job to I listen, he did a good job with what he could. With what he could. Okay? Hear me out. He did a good job with what he could and with the trade deadline and everything like that, right? But he didn't do a good enough job to build this team to be strong while Joel is gone. That's the issue. So I know in Daryl's eyes, he probably was thinking, "Oh, Buddy can come in here. He can fill second role shoes." But I'm sorry, but I can't give Buddy Hield right now the title of, especially with Joel being out. I can't give anybody right now the title of like you're really it's Tobias and Buddy that are 2A and 2B. And you can even throw Kelly Oubre in there as 2C because Kelly Oubre will have a game randomly where he'll drop 30 something points, right? But they're not consistent.
Yeah.
These guys are playing 30 plus minutes and they're only giving us 15 to 18 points and giving us a sprinkle of a 30 pointer
Mm-hmm.
probably once a month or once every 2 months. So
Yeah.
he did a decent job. In a perfect world, if we had Joel, we would be talking about that this was probably the best trade deadline that
Right.
he had.
Right.
You're getting depth at shooting and also with at the guard position,
Mm-hmm.
But it's not enough while Joel is out. It is not enough. So
No, I mean you're so right. I think a lot of it still comes back from Harden. I mean, we just even without a heel trade, we didn't have a team that can be competitive without Embiid that way too. So
which technically that whole stuff happened this year, so it's like
that's
crazy
what I'm
to
saying.
think that like that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. It's like Morey did his damnedest, but you can only do so much, and he wasn't going to be able to, in a matter of 3 months, be able to make that. I mean, also they have to play together, right? So that's my other piece too. Is besides even Joe, they've had a lot of injuries they've been dealing with here. Maxey was out of the lineup for a little bit this year. Now Oubre is in and out. Melton's been out for a while. Covington's been out for a while. I think Harris missed some time. So there's been guys in and out of lineups, and that's never. I mean, look, you're going to deal with injuries every year. Yeah. With your team, and it's you roll with the punches. But I think this in particular, it's just they've had a uphill battle. So yeah, that's why I've been where I've been at with not bringing Joe back. Let's just continue to let guys like Oubre and whatnot showcase what they have. Let's make good decisions in the off seasons because we're only going to be able to choose a number of them that are going to stay. And that's kind of where I'm at. Let Maxey continue to lead on his own. Just repetition. I mean, him being the only guy in the lineup more often, like this year, is going to be a good thing for him. You know what I mean? Because then having the luxury of Joe in there at some point is just going to make things so much easier for him.
And I stand by what I said last week, where I think next year that Joe has to take that. He has to put on that mindset that I am not the number one best player in this team now. And that is Tyrese. I am number two, and really, if he adapts to that and accepts it, he could actually become better than what he is now. You think about it. If you're more efficient, especially if you're not taking on as many looks as you're used to, right? You just become more efficient, with the shots that you're taking, the looks that you're getting, things like that. Who knows? I think it could. I think it could benefit him. It could possibly extend his career, but
You're
honestly, man, this is something sad to say, but we're probably at the end of Joel's career. We're probably at the end, like the last 3 years.
I may well so
You think he has more than 3 or 4 years in the league?
yeah.
Yeah.
In the league, yes. Playing at the capability he's playing now, I don't know.
I give him
I
two
don't
more
know.
years at
Right.
with this level.
So I agree with everything you're saying, right? So like next year the mindset if I'm the Sixers has to be like not that he's on a minute restriction, but there has to be a goal that's like, all right, we really don't if we can help it, you don't play more than this per game.
He doesn't play more than 30 minutes a game.
And that being said, to your point, so Maxey needs to be the 1A aggressor. Like it's like, okay, he's who we
And
go
that's
to
that's
go
only
get
a
the
difference of 10 minutes.
Yeah,
It is not that big of a deal.
I want Embiid to, but on the other side of that, like I'm not saying obviously he's one of the best scorers in the league.
Yeah.
Go look and get your buckets, but at the same time, like I want to see more. I love the growth I've seen with him as a facilitator, being more of a leader outside of just putting the ball in the hoop,
Yep.
and I just want to see more growth of that. I think if Morey does his job, brings in more of the the people we need here, builds a team the way we want it next year, there has to be what like the Derek Whites, right? There has to be these guys that just it's a collective effort that take that burden off him. It can't just also go all on Maxey. That's not fair either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I feel confident. I feel good. I think we're figuring out the pieces that will work for what the vision is here. Obviously, because Nurse has a vision too. You know what I mean? The type of players they want, the type of mindset, the type of dog. So, we gotta weed through that. We gotta get Joe healthy, and we gotta keep him healthy. Um, but yeah, I love where we're at. I love the team. I don't get me wrong. I want to see them go as far as possible, but yeah, it's just it's about being realistic at the same time. And when you see a team like Boston play, I saw them the other day play. Not against the Sixers, and they're just such a good team. And they have it this year, and that's the other thing. They haven't been injured.
Yeah.
Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, and Drew Holiday have played in majority of the games together.
We'll see, man. We'll see. I have really nothing else to say with the Sixers. I think we're both on the
Yeah,
same
no.
page with where they're
Yeah.
at. It's kind of like a downer to talk about them in a way because we were so like high on them this year. But this is what we get for being Philly fans. So let's actually transition to our final topic that we have. So we were actually chatting about I don't know why my transitions weren't working. Here we go. There we go, guys. So we were talking about this picture, this meme that I sent to our group chat. So it says, "What team are you picking?" So the first team is the Golden State Warriors with and it's just showing like the three players, the three main players. So you can have this own debate yourself if you want to do the full, 5-on-5, or if you're just doing 3-on-3. But it has Golden State Warriors and Shaq. So Steph, Clay, and Shaq. Bucks and Kobe. So Dame, Giannis, and Kobe. Lakers and Bird. LeBron, AD and Larry Bird, and then the last one was Denver with Jamal Murray, Jokic, and Michael Jordan. So my pick when we were talking about this, if I get prime Clay, like prime Clay meaning like 61 points, Clay Thompson off with 11 shots, Clay.
Yeah. Yep.
Wait, no,
11 dribbles.
11 dribbles. That's what it was. Um, I'm taking Golden State Warriors and Shaq. That team is pretty dominant.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to be able to do any like nobody's going to be able to like offensive rebound or defensive rebound off of with Shaq out there. Like you're not going to be able to push him out the way. So if that ball if they miss the three, guess what? He's just going to grab that thing and yam it back on your face.
I think you're. I mean, I'm not gonna say there's a right answer, but I agree. If you're picking everyone in their prime, I mean, Shaq was the most dominant force that the game has ever seen.
Yeah.
Steph Curry is the best shooter that the game has ever seen, and Klay Thompson, you could say maybe he's the second best or the third best maybe shooter of all time. Like top five.
He's top five for
Top
sure.
five.
Behind it's what is it? What
Ray
is it? Steph?
Allen.
No, it's Steph, Reggie, Ray Allen.
Oh, you mean the order of threes made, or you just mean the order of who you
Well,
think?
wouldn't that technically be the best three pointers? I guess not really because LeBron's in that list too. He's like number 8, so never mind. Let's not. I hear what you're saying now.
Oh yeah. No,
I started thinking about that. I'm like, wait, nope, because then we can go down the rabbit hole. And LeBron's in that freaking list. LeBron is not a top 3-point shooter.
I just meant
in
like
NBA
if
history.
I want if I need a 3,
Yeah,
Clay's top 5 on my list.
yeah, I agree with you there. My list in my head of the best 3-point shooters of all time is Steph, Reggie Miller, Ray Allen, Klay Thompson, and Peja Stojakovic.
Ooh, that's a good fifth. I didn't know who your fifth was gonna be. My fifth, I would want to do actual research to make sure I chose correctly.
I could say Buddy Hield because he is technically right behind Steph with the amount of threes like made. I think since he came into the league, but I just think Lillard's
been on my mind. Just because he's basically shooting half quarters.
Yeah, but when you think of Lillard, do you think of Lillard as a dominant 3-point shooter compared like when you think of Steph, that's what you think of, right? You think of dominant 3-point shooter.
No, for sure.
Lillard, which this is not a knock to him at all saying this, but what I'm saying is like he actually gives me like I look at him and I'm like, shit, what am I gonna get? Am I gonna get a 3 or am I gonna get him driving into the hole and getting a and
So he's
one
a scorer.
Right. He's
Yeah,
a scorer
I
that
got
he
you.
will like he doesn't just when I think of his career, he doesn't just have he's not a one style type of player,
Yeah.
right? So that's why with him, I mean, I give it to you. Like that's a good one. That's a good pick. That's a real good pick. But you said so you're saying Golden State as well?
I think so. I think when you put in totality, they fit too. They fit. I mean, if you can't double Shaq, one of them's going to be open.
Yeah.
And if you try to double one of them and play Shaq 1-on-1, well, good luck.
Yeah.
I
did forget Larry Bird in the list of 3-point shooters, but
yeah, see, yeah, he's very good. I think as a talent, he's in the conversation. My thing with Larry Bird is there wasn't a lot of attempts.
Yeah.
And it's not his fault. It's the era.
Yeah. I just wonder if that could transfer to today's game. Everybody said that he actually would be a better 3-point shooter than he was back in the day because of the fact of like hit where he released it at. Yeah. It was like hard for anybody to try to block it.
Yeah, no, there's so many of those guys. I mean, Michael Jordan would be so much better of a 3-point shooter than he was because it just wasn't as big of a part of the game. I mean, Steph Curry really changed the 3-point. I mean,
I think MJ. I think he still would have been like he's an elusive type of scorer. He's an agile.
He's one of the
like he's one that like I don't like. I think he would
like if
probably
you go,
have better 3-pointer like a better 3-point percentage today's game. But I do think he would be one that would get
not
a
only
lot.
that, but
Like
look
he would
at
be
like
the
attempts.
he'd be like a Kobe type of player where he would drive into the hole, get that like and one foul or go ahead and do a fadeaway, like he's almost like DeRozan. And this is where now I'm going off topic right now, but this is now just thinking out loud with like uh, the era of basketball, right? We got to see big man's like dominate, right? Big men
Yeah.
were dominant when we were growing up. The
Mhm.
Shaqs, the Kobe's, the Shaqs, the KG, the Tim Duncans, right?
Yep.
We even got to see David Robinson. You even got to see Dennis Rodman. Some of these players that at the end of their careers, right? Um, and then it started transitioning to more of an offensive game, more of a shooter's game, right?
Yeah.
So then it was these Kobe's that were like, all right, the mid range, daggers, right? You're having, DeRozan when he came into the league, same thing. He had
Mhm.
that mid range dagger.
Yep.
I'm now realizing that game is now dying.
Oh,
It's
it's
now
extinct.
becoming
The
just a
3-pointer.
3-point
Yeah.
league, which I hate because I tell you this much, man. That mid range, when you're able to go ahead and have like that mid range dagger, like that just consistent, like that's why I love DeRozan so much, and that's why I think DeRozan would be a great fit on the Sixers because you have the 3-pointers covered. You have the 3-pointers covered where if you're having Buddy, you're having Tyrese,
Right.
you have Kelly Oubre or whatever that can go. You even have Joel that can go ahead and do that, right? But nobody's really, taking care of the paint. You have everybody that's now guarding the 3-point line, and nobody's caring about the paint, right? And that's what I want I mean, and what I want's not going to happen, but I wish the game could get back to that like
More
players that
interior.
were more interior,
Yeah.
dominant, and then also you spread the wealth with the 3-pointers. Like Miles Bridges would be, I think, a good one that if somebody were to work on his mid range, he'd be a deadly mid range, like someone that would be really really good in the paint. So
It is funny that it's not a bigger part of people's arsenals. I
yeah,
mean, you think about there's people that there's way more people that just made a name off that alone. I mean, like Rip Hamilton,
yep,
right? Coming off the block there. Sean Livingston.
yeah.
That's how he rejuvenated his career and kind of got his way back from injury and stuff. So it's a
Sean Livingston was also deadly with Golden State because everybody was so worried about the mid range, or not because
the three
they were
pointers.
so worried about the 3-pointers.
So you had all that room to
So
operate in.
every time that he was right there in the paint, he would just back them down and then
Make a move.
quick.
Yeah, no, it's a lost art. I yeah, and that's I think that's something that probably why it's like Joe. Joe always shooting the mid range
Yeah,
game. That's why he's such a lethal scorer. I mean, the when you look at the league right now, for the most part, I mean, there's a few exceptions. The guys that are the top of the league, they can shoot anywhere on the court,
yeah,
and that's what I mean. And it's and you're right. A lot of people focus too much. They just want to be the 3-point shooters. Steph has made it. I mean, it's not. I don't want to act like I'm blaming Steph, but everyone's be Steph.
yeah.
You know what I
You're
mean?
right. You're right.
And so now I'd love to see more of that from some young cats coming in here. I mean, the NBA is constantly changing,
Hmm,
constantly,
hmm, hmm.
um, going through different things. Like we said, the big man era from us growing up to now. Everyone's pretty close to the same size on the floor now. So it'll be interesting to see where we are 20 years from now.
Yeah. I did say that was my last point. The one thing I was going to mention too before we end the pod. Did you see the highlights to Chet and Victor last night?
I did see
I saw
a
some, and
little
it was actually
blockage.
it
Yeah,
was
some blockage there. Yep.
that is going to be a matchup to watch for years to come.
It's going to be how like Embiid and Jokic are always talked
I
about. Those
I
two are always going to be referred to each other.
I loved it because like, and they have like a ton of respect for each other too. Chet had 23 points off of 33 minutes, and Victor had 28 points over 32 minutes. So literally, like they were both like neck and neck. But yeah, Chet had that or Victor had that nice block on Chet
Yeah.
at the end of the game to
Yep.
go ahead and come back up and drain three. I was like, oh my gosh.
Wemby's getting he's getting a lot of confidence. I kind of thought he was a little not slow because he still was playing well early on, but he's really he's finding his groove now. It seems like he's popping it from deep and not hesitating.
Yeah.
He's his team's not very good, but he's kind of just like taking the lead there, and as he should.
Yeah, hopefully they get some help around him. And Thunder is still second in the West, so
That's who
they're
I'm rooting for in the
actually
West.
they are a game. They're a half a game behind first place.
Could you imagine?
That's
That'd be
crazy.
who's the
And-
coach?
And Sam Presti still has, I think, 20 first-round picks over in the next 6
Oh
years.
yeah. Who's their coach right now? He's doing a phenomenal job. He should be.
OKC's coach.
Yeah, he probably should be coach of the year.
Let's see. OKC Thunder coach.
The turnaround from not. I mean, they were a lottery pick last year.
Mark Dagno.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, hey, this is Fox. Oh, never mind. I was like, I thought he was a Fox analyst before. I was like, holy
Hmm.
crap. But no, so that's going to be a good matchup to watch. But no, this was Hey, I mean, I think we're on the same page with the Sixers right now. You know,
Yeah.
we have. It's still going to be a season that we want to entertain and want to watch. You know, we want to see what this team can have next year. But you know, just sometimes you got to be a little bit more realistic. So, yeah, continue following us along for the rest of this NBA season. Cheers to the Phillies for getting to what's called spring training.
Yep.
I was actually watching last week. I think they were playing the Mets last weekend, and at one point I looked up and it was like 4-3. I went outside, came back in, and it was 14 to something, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
Gosh.
I don't know, like they obviously don't have like their crazy
Yeah,
like
all
all their players like playing right now, but
yeah.
it hey, we'll
I'd love
see.
to see
We
that.
got some baseball coming up.
Yeah.
Golf season starting again. I was watching Live Golf yet today. So that was it's actually pretty cool to watch now with like John Rahm in there. So, you know, you have some more notable players.
Yeah,
But
no, it's that time of year. It's starting to shift here.
yeah. And if you guys hear us definitely talking about other sports, just join along.
Yeah.
Don't go ahead and you know,
Turn
hop
us
on.
off.
Yeah, turn
Yeah.
us off just because we're talking about other sports. We love sports. This is a sports podcast originally, so I mean, I know we said we weren't going to talk about baseball and things like that, but hey, we may be sprinkling some stuff along. But now, so appreciate everybody for tuning in for another episode. Let's do this again, buddy.
Cheers,
Cheers,
buddy. I didn't talk into the can this time.
All right, everybody. Well, have a great rest of your day. And as always, if you ain't doing anything, go ahead and crack a cold one.